I've been asked to prepare a recipe for Family Friendly Week. So I'm going to show you my cheap Chinese, which I'm going to make with a microwave. So it's not going to be anything like a proper high cuisine Chinese, but it's going to be along the lines. It's going to be quick and cheap and easy. And it'll taste good too. So first, I'm going to start off with a Pyrex dish and put in a bit of soy sauce. Just like a tablespoon or two. A little bit of oil. This is just standard vegetable oil, and I'm using a squirter here to put it in, just because it's a good way of controlling how much oil you use. It's easy to pour too much in if you're using a big bottle, but a squirter is a good way of controlling how much oil you're going to be eating. I'm also going to be putting in some garlic and ginger. Squash that. There's some ginger. You can use ginger powder as well, but I think real ginger is nicer. It certainly smells nicer when you're making it. And I'm going to put in some onion as well. Handy tip with onion is if you keep your knife really sharp, then you'll get less trouble with the onion fumes getting in your eyes and making you cry. Just going to mix that around a bit. Put the lid on and put that in the microwave just for a minute or two to make the onions a bit mushy. While that's microwaving, I'll prepare some of the other vegetables. This is a bit of courgette. You can put pretty much any vegetables you like in. The tip really is anything that you can eat raw is suitable for going in this kind of Chinese food. You wouldn't be putting in potatoes or parsnip or swede. That wouldn't really be right. Proper Chinese is usually cooked very quickly in a hot wok, so the vegetables are kind of still slightly raw, but the fact it's in the microwave just makes it a lot quicker and easier, and you've not got a great big wok to wash afterwards. That sounds like the microwave's ready. So I'm going to add a bit of lemon juice to my onion mixture, and I'm also now going to put in the curry paste, just a little bit, because I've made this too hot before and rather regretted it. The reason I'm putting this in now rather than at the beginning is because now this is hot and a bit mushy, I can mix in this rather lumpy curry paste and make sure there's not going to be a kind of lump in the middle of the food, and you'll find you've eaten some really hot paste and the rest of it's unflavoured. I'll just chop some mushrooms up, it wasn't quite quick enough. And put that in the microwave again. I'm putting the lid on at this stage to make sure nothing dries out. You might also want to add cashew nuts or almonds to your Chinese food. That adds a bit of protein to it and a bit more interest to the texture. I think I won't today. And today I'm going to be using some of these pre-cooked egg noodles. They're not that expensive, but they won't store for very long. other options that you'll usually find in a Chinese shop are these blocks of noodles, which are very quick to cook, and they usually come with little sachets of flavour as well. But you tend to have to cook the whole block at once. They're a bit hard to break up. You end up losing half of it in crumbs. Another option are these straight noodles. Take a little longer to cook, but you can store them for as long as you like. They're a bit like spaghetti, but they're flat. They don't quite taste the same as these blocks of noodles, but they're nice, and they've got certain advantages. You can buy a big packet and have noodles whenever you need them. They don't take up much space in the cupboard either, so that's worth getting. Okay, that's been in the microwave for maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Depending on which vegetables you're using, it might take longer or shorter. Other vegetables you could try are maybe frozen peas or frozen sweet corn, tomatoes, basically anything that's reasonably safe to eat raw. You could try prawns in there as well, or pork or chicken. I'm vegetarian, so I'm keeping mine fairly vegetable filled. What I'm now going to do is put in an egg, which will add some protein to the mix and hold it together. I just like it with an egg in. The egg's going to start cooking straight away because everything's hot, so I'm going to mix that in right away. And I'm also going to add these noodles. Since these are pre-cooked noodles, I can just tip them in on top. And this is where I wish I'd got a slightly larger bowl. But I think I'm just going to do this kind of with the noodles on top. So this is kind of like a one bowl dish. If you're cooking for yourself, which I do sometimes, then you can do a smaller version of this. And I'm going to add a little bit of the soy sauce on the top as well, just to give those noodles a bit of extra flavour. Be careful not to overdo it with this stuff because it's very salty. Definitely don't need to add any extra salt to this. Right, I'm going to put the lid on again. Give that a bit more microwaving because that egg's not going to be properly cooked yet, so I want to give it another minute or two. So that's all cooked and ready to go. I've saved myself some chopsticks from the last time I went to a Chinese restaurant. And get yourself some nice white bowls, if you've got some, to give that authentic Chinese look. And there you go, cheap Chinese cuisine.